कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे
Hare Krishna Prabhus and Mataji. My name is Deepika and I will be your host for today. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada. Before we start the session, please allow me to recite the Mangla Charna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padansa Gana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishbhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deva Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasada Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Today's speaker is no stranger to us, a disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami. His Grace is a spiritual author and a Shastric teacher. A monk residing in Govardhan Eco Village, he teaches Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Vaishnava character, and other spiritual subjects. He is known for his lucid talks, thought-provoking articles, shloka recitation, and nectar verses, short stories on YouTube. Let us welcome His Grace Gauranga Darshan Das to delve into today's topic, Pure Bhakti, the sense of Bhagavad Gita. Over to you, Your Grace. Kindly accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. My humble obeisances to all the devotees who have assembled for this session. So, as requested by the devotees, I'll be speaking on a few shlokas from the Bhagavad Gita of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter, shloka number 8 to 11. So these 4 shlokas from the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita are considered very important and crucial for understanding the Bhakti Tattva, and we get a lot of encouragement and inspiration and insight into the whole process of Bhakti and into the heart of Krishna by reading these 4 shlokas. So we will recite the shloka and discuss the meaning of the shloka and some perspectives as highlighted by our Vaishnava Acharyas. So I'll be showing the shloka on the screen. I hope you're able to see. First one. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. In this shloka, Krishna is revealing that he is the source of everything in the entire universe. Aham sarvasya prabhavo. Everything is coming from Krishna. Krishna is the source of everything in all the spiritual and the material worlds. Aham means me, Krishna is saying. Sarvasya prabhavo, he is the source of everything. He is the origin of everything. Mattaha sarvam pravartate, everything comes from Krishna, from me, Krishna says. Iti matva, knowing this, bhajante mam, knowing that Krishna is the source of everything and everything comes from Krishna, devotees bhajante mam, they render service to Krishna. They do bhajan of Krishna. And how do they do that bhajan? Buddha bhava samanvitaha. Buddha means intelligence. Bhava means emotion. So devotees connect with Krishna not only intellectually, but also emotionally, right? So intellectually, devotees may understand that Krishna is the supreme God, he's the controller, he's the master, he's the proprietor, he's the enjoyer, he's the creator, he's the maintainer. Ham sarvasya prabhavo mattaha sarvam pravartate. We have so many shlokas in Bhagavad Gita that establish Krishna's godhood, Krishna's supremacy. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. So, after understanding the tattva of Bhagavan, naturally one may be inclined to take his shelter. So, intelligently, using our intelligence to understand God is at one level, but to emotionally connect with Krishna is on a higher level. That's why Krishna doesn't say that Buddha samanvitaha. He would also say Buddha bhava samanvitaha. So now, knowing that Krishna is the origin of everything, we have to serve Krishna both with our intelligence and emotion. Emotionally connect with Krishna and intellectually understand Krishna's supreme position. Okay. So now, in the first 2 lines, we understand that Krishna is the root of all existence. Krishna is the root. Aham sarvasya prabhavo. Everything is coming from me. Everything is originating from me. Origin. So the origin of all the parts of a tree, whether it is trunk or branches or sub-branches or leaves or twigs or whatever it may be, the origin of all these elements of the tree is the root. Root is invisible, but the tree trunk and leaves and flowers and fruits are visible. But behind this visible tree or below this visible tree is the invisible root. Similarly, with our material eyes, we may not be able to see the spiritual form of Krishna. But the entire material universe came from Krishna. Okay. So Krishna is the invisible origin of everything visible in this world. And if we have that pure consciousness, Krishna can become visible to us also. But we need to have that qualification. Okay. So there is Prime Minister in the country, there is Chief Minister in the country, or there is a king for the kingdom. But an average citizen may not get a direct face-to-face appointment of the king, right? So unless there is a proper reason and there is a proper qualification to approach the king. Similarly, every person may not be able to see Krishna directly because he's completely spiritual, and we are still in material consciousness, right? So when we purify our consciousness by practicing bhakti yoga, okay, bhajante mam, bhajante means to practice bhakti. So by doing that bhakti, then we will be able to access Krishna. So the root of everything is Krishna, and the route to Krishna is bhajante, is to serve him. So, and the result of knowing the route and following the route to reach the route is love for Krishna. Buddha bhava samanvitaha. We develop genuine emotions for Krishna. We emotionally connect with Krishna. So this shloka speaks about root, and result. R-O-O-T and R-O-U-T, two roots. So next, we see it from another perspective. You know, Sambandha Tattva, Abhideya Tattva, and Prayojana Tattva. Sambandha Tattva means our relationship with God. Abhideya means the process of establishing that relationship. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, in the 15th chapter, says that Mamaivam Jiva Loke Jiva Bhutah Sanatanaha. Every Jiva is my Amsha. Krishna says, so we are all children of God. We have a connection with Krishna. We have a permanent relationship with Krishna, right? So that is called Sambandha. But in the conditioned state, when we are entrapped in a material body, in the material world, we don't remember that connection with Krishna. So by practicing Bhakti Yoga, Bhajante Mam, we can establish that connection with Krishna. And the process of establishing that connection with God is Abhideya. So Sambandha is to understand that Krishna is Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo. Abhideya means Bhajante Mam, to worship Krishna, to serve Krishna. And what is the prayojan? Buddha bhava samanvitaha. We'll intelligently understand Krishna's supreme position, and we will also get bhava for Krishna. Bhava means emotion. Bhava means love. Bhava means internal connection with Krishna. Internal nourishment because of relishing the relationship with Krishna, because of rendering service to Krishna. So we understand relationship with Krishna, render service to Krishna. Sambandha Abhideya. What is the prayojan of that? Your heart is nourished with love of Krishna. You love Krishna and you experience Krishna's love, thus heart becomes completely nourished. Okay, that is the result of understanding Krishna and serving Krishna, right? So that's what this shloka beautifully teaches us. Buddha bhava samanvita. So Brahma is the creator, but Krishna or Vishnu is the creator of creator. How did Brahma take birth? Brahma took birth from a lotus that is coming from the navel of Lord Vishnu. So there's Vishnu is the creator of creator, and that Vishnu is another form of Krishna. So here Krishna is not boasting with false pride, but trying to boost our faith in him. Okay. So Krishna, when he says, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo, everything is coming from me, I am the origin of everything. When Krishna says that, it's not that he's boasting about himself. It's not that Krishna is very proud. He is speaking about his own glories, how he's the creator, he's the master, he's the maintainer, he's the destroyer. Without him, nothing exists in this world. He is boldly declaring in Bhagavad Gita that he's the origin of everything. You don't see pride here in Krishna. Krishna is not boasting about himself. Krishna is boosting our faith in himself. So unless we understand Krishna's divinity, Krishna's supreme position as the origin of everything, as the creator, as the protector, as the maintainer, as the master, how can we surrender to him? How can we take his shelter? So Krishna, by speaking about himself, about his own glories, about his own greatness, and about his own sweetness, he is inspiring a mood of taking shelter of Krishna within our hearts. So it is only to inspire shelter in us. It is only to boost our faith. So when we take shelter of somebody, we need to have faith in that person, right? Unless we have faith, why will we take shelter of anyone? So to take shelter of someone, we need to have complete trust in the ability and the intention of that person. This person is capable of protecting me, and this person has intention to protect me. He will not cheat me. When we have faith, when we have trust in that person, then only we will take shelter of that person. Now, God, Supreme God, Krishna is personally speaking about his own glories in Bhagavad Gita to give us that faith. Don't think that Krishna is boasting about himself. Krishna is trying to boost our faith. Okay, so that is another important aspect of this beautiful shloka. Now, Krishna created everything, but who created Krishna? No one. Okay, the basic definition of God is that no one has created him. He is the creator of everything. He is behind all creations. That's the definition of God. Don't keep tracing that Krishna is the creator of everything. Who created Krishna? There is no creation for Krishna. He is eternally existent. So we should not stop at knowing Krishna is the source and sustenance of everything. We should move ahead by wholeheartedly loving him and serving him. And that's really knowing Krishna. That's the real knowledge of Krishna. And we have genuine faith. Okay. So now, when you say Buddha Bhava Samanvita, first two lines, what are they saying? Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate. Everything emanates from me. I am the source of everything. Iti matva, knowing this, bhajante mam, means iti matva means knowing Krishna. Don't stop at knowing Krishna. Bhajante mam, also worship Krishna. Don't stop at knowing Krishna and worshipping Krishna. Also try to love Krishna. So worship can be done in a mechanical way also. But we need to worship Krishna with heartfelt emotions, with complete conviction. Conviction aspect is Buddha and emotion aspect is Bhava. Buddha Bhava Samanvitaha. Buddha indicates our conviction in Krishna's glory and Bhava indicates our emotional attachment to Krishna. Okay, so don't just stop at knowing Krishna or even worshipping Krishna. Don't just think that Krishna is God. Think that Krishna is my God. There's a difference in saying that. Okay, you know Krishna. Oh, Krishna is God. I know him. He's Krishna. He's God. But when you say Bhava Samanvitaha, you are saying that Krishna is my God. He is my God. Okay. So you feel a sense of belonging. I belong to him. He belongs to me. We have a relationship with each other. Okay. So like when you just know about Krishna, you have information about Krishna. When you love Krishna, that information is getting transformed into emotion and you develop a deeper connection. Okay. You know 100 people, but with everybody you may not have a loving relationship. But here, once you know Krishna, you start developing a loving bonding with Krishna. That is Buddha Bhava Samanvitaha. Okay. So now let us discuss some stories. Stories are very easy for us to follow and to understand the philosophical concepts that are revealed in these shlokas. So once Krishna was in Dwaraka, he had headache, severe headache. How can God have headache? Yeah, he's personal. He can have headache also. Let's see the purpose of Krishna's having headache after some time. But let's first accept that Krishna got some headache. So Krishna got some headache. So many doctors came and they tried to treat Krishna, but everyone failed. Nobody could treat Krishna. And they are giving some medicines, they are just doing some massages, they are putting some cloth on his head, they are doing many things, but nothing reduced Krishna's headache. And all the palace residents in Dwaraka, including the 16,108 queens, they became a little worried, quite worried. Then Narada Muni came there. And all devotees became a little hopeful. Oh, Narada Muni, you have come here. Thank you so much for coming here. Now we are all in great anxiety. Krishna has some severe headache and it's not reducing his suffering from headache for such a long time. You please show some solution. Then Narada Muni coolly went to Krishna and asked Krishna, what is this transcendental Leela? How can your headache be cured? You tell, you only tell. Then Krishna said, Narada Muni, none of these medicines will work. Only one medicine will work. If any of my devotees gives dust from his or her feet, and if you place the dust on my headache will go. So please get some dust from the lotus feet of my devotees. Then Narada Muni asked some devotees in Dwarka, can you please give your dust? So nobody agreed. If Krishna is Almighty God, if we give our dust, if we place our dust from our foot on Krishna's head, we will go to hell. We are not ready to go to hell. So nobody agreed. Then Narada Muni finally went and asked the queens of Dwarka, Rukmini Devi, Satyabhama, Mitravinda, Kalindi, Nagnajiti, Jambavati. He just asked them also. And none of them are ready also. They said that, how can we place our feet on Krishna's head or our dust on Krishna's head? We don't want to do that. They are hesitant. They don't mind going to hell, but they felt that it's little too much for us to give our dust. So, and some people even asked Narada Muni, will you give dust? I cannot give. Narada Muni also withdrew. He did not give. So then finally, Narada Muni was searching everywhere, and finally he went to Vrindavan. He asked some gopis, innocent cowherd girls in Vrindavan. He said, Krishna is had. Then the gopis became extremely pained at heart. As soon as they have heard that their beloved Lord Krishna is having some severe headache, they just could not tolerate it. So then Narada Muni said, don't worry, there is a solution. Then they became hopeful. Oh, Krishna has headache, so we are morose. But if there is a solution for Krishna's headache, we will be happy. Tell me what is the solution. Can we do something for it? Then Narada Muni said, yes, you can do. So if any of the devotees of Krishna gives their dust from their feet, and if the dust is placed on Krishna's head, Krishna's headache will go. So anyone of you ready to give some dust from your feet? There's a lot of dust under your feet, I can see. Then the gopis unhesitatingly took their dust and then tied it in a cloth and offered it to Narada Muni. Take it. Narada Muni said, Arey, have you thought about it? Do you know the gravity of what you have done? You are giving dust to the Supreme Lord. Then the gopis said, so what? Is this not the right medicine that cures Krishna's headache? Then Narada Muni said, yes, this is the right medicine. Then why are you hesitating? Take it, go immediately. Krishna must be waiting for this dust. Then Narada Muni said, I will go, but I have some doubt. I'm unable to move ahead now. I am extremely curious. Do you know that you will go to hell if you give your dust to Krishna? Gopi said, yeah, we know. You know, if you know, then how can you give? Will you go to hell? Then the gopis asked, if this dust is placed on Krishna's head, will Krishna's headache be cured? They said, yeah, of course it will be. Then we don't mind. We don't mind perpetually living in hell for the rest of eternity to relieve Krishna from his headache even for one moment. To relieve Krishna from his headache for one moment, we don't mind living in hell for the rest of eternity. To that degree, the devotees have love for Krishna. Okay. So, the gopis of Vrindavan, they just don't worship Krishna as a formality. Just because it is written in the Vedas, we worship Krishna. Just because some seniors and some elders, ancestors have worshipped, we are just continuing it as a tradition. Not like that. So tradition and scriptural regulation, they are not the reasons for the gopis to love Krishna. Their love for Krishna is not based on the logic or reasoning or the information that Krishna is God. Whether Krishna is God or not, we love him. Okay. So they have Buddha, means they have knowledge that Krishna is Almighty God. They have knowledge that if we give dust to Krishna, because he is the supreme, we will go to hell. They have knowledge, but they have bhava. Okay, their buddha is dominated by their bhava. Okay, so their understanding that we will go to hell by giving dust to Krishna's head. We will go to hell by giving our test to Krishna. That Buddha, that information, that knowledge, that intelligence is overpowered by their bhava. Their bhava overpowered. So this is how devotees have both love for Krishna and also intelligently understand that Krishna is the Supreme God. So when someone tries to connect with Krishna emotionally like this, then they can derive all nourishment at heart by Krishna's glances. Okay, so, and some say bhakti is meant for less intelligent people or people who are not very intellectual. But here Krishna is using the word buddha. Buddha bhava samanvitaha. My devotees are intelligent also. Not just they have emotions, they have intelligence also. So we need to do bhakti both with head and heart. Not just with head and not just with heart. We need to have both. Of course, between these two, heart is more important than head. Okay. So bhakti is not just a choice of head, but the calling of the heart. And bhakti is not just based on our intellectual conviction, but also emotional connection. Okay. So, yeah, with this, we'll go to the next shloka. Macchitta madgata prana bodhayantaha parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Macchitta madgata prana bodhayantaha parasparam. This is the next shloka in which Krishna describes the activities and characteristics of pure devotees. So already he described pure devotees love me. They are intellectually convinced that I am the Supreme God, and they also have emotional bonding with me. Buddha bhava samanvitaha. They are pure devotees. It's clear. Now he is further expanding on the qualities of pure devotees. What do they do with all that bhava and Buddha? Mat chitta. They give their chitta to Krishna. Okay. Mat gata prana means they dedicate their lives to Krishna completely. Mat chitta means their chitta, their heart or their consciousness or their mind is totally dedicated to Krishna. They always think of Krishna. Madgata prana means their prana, their lives are totally dedicated to him. Like a fish, when it is taken out of water, it cannot survive, isn't it? When you put the fish back in water, it will survive. Similarly, when a devotee is taken out of devotional service, he will not survive. When you put him back in the process of bhakti under the shelter of Krishna, then he will survive. Okay. So devotee, just like the life of a fish is totally dependent on its presence in water, the life of a devotee is completely dependent on Krishna. Okay. So madgata prana means that. Bodhayantaha parasparam. What else do they do? Bodhayantaha means to teach, to enlighten, or to speak to. Parasparam. So they mutually enlighten each other. They teach each other about Krishna. Basically, they discuss about Krishna. Kathayantascha mam nityam. Nityam means on a regular basis, they do kathayantaha. They discuss about Krishna. Tushyanticha, with great happiness. Ramanticha, with great satisfaction, with bliss. So these are the activities of devotees. They are constantly in discussion with Krishna. So now there is another shloka in Bhagavatam which is of similar theme. Parasparanu kathanam pavanam bhagavadyashah mithoratir mitha tushtir nivrittir mitha atmanaha. Paraspara anukathanam. Devotees are those people who constantly discuss about the Lord amongst themselves. And pavanam bhagavadyashah, because they discuss the Lord's glories, pavanam, they experience purification. They are completely purified by discussing Lord's glories. Pavanam bhagavadyashah. Mithoratihi. In this way, their rati, their attraction for Krishna increases. Mitha tushtir, their satisfaction increases. Nivrittir mitha atmanaha. and their attraction towards material enjoyment is completely vanquished. Okay. So, like the devotees are those people who constantly relish the glories of Krishna. They discuss about Krishna. And this is what is happening in Vrindavan. In Vrindavan, the motherly gopis, okay, the gopis who have motherly affection for Krishna, they keep discussing about Krishna throughout the day. Like Krishna goes to one gopi's house and steals butter, breaks pots. Another gopi's house, he would release the calves, and the calves would run behind the cows to drink their milk. And all the people in the house, they would run behind the calves, and Krishna runs into the house to steal butter. Like that, Krishna has so many such ideas to steal butter from the houses of the gopis. Okay. So, in this way, the gopis of Vrindavan are relishing Krishna's butter stealing pastimes, but apparently they show some anger on Krishna. They become angry with Krishna. They start complaining against Krishna to Mother Yashoda. Okay, they're not actually angry, but they never want to forget Krishna's pastimes. They keep discussing about Krishna's pastimes with each other, and they come in front of Mother Yashoda and they start narrating Krishna's pastimes also to Mother Yashoda. This is how they are constantly doing Machitta Madgata Prana Bodhayantaha Parasparam Kathayantasya Mam Nityam Tushyanti Charamanticha. This is their regular activity. Okay, so the nature of the pastimes of Krishna is so absolute that even the Lord relishes those pastimes. Once in Dwaraka, the queens of Dwaraka, queens of Krishna, became very curious to understand about Krishna's childhood. All these queens went to Mother Rohini. You know, Mother Rohini and Mother Yashoda both were in Vrindavan witnessing Krishna's childhood pastimes, witnessing Balram's childhood pastimes. So Rohini Mata knows everything about Krishna. So all the queens of Dwaraka, queens of Krishna, went to Rohini Mata and said, "We want to hear Krishna's childhood pastimes. Can you please narrate it to us?" So Rohini Mata said, "Yeah, I will do that. But Krishna and Balram should not come here. So let's have Subhadra as a doorkeeper." So they all kept Subhadra, Krishna's sister, at the door, just so that Krishna and Balram wouldn't come in. And they all gathered inside. They sat inside the room. Mother Rohini sitting, and all the queens of Krishna were surrounding Mother Rohini, and they were carefully hearing all the beautiful narrations of Mother Rohini. And Subhadra is sitting at the door, standing at the door, guarding the door, so that Krishna and Balram wouldn't come. So then Rohini Mata started narrating, and they were hearing, all the girls, all the queens. So Subhadra became very curious to also hear. So she peeped inside the room, and she started hearing those pastimes that Mother Rohini was narrating. So she could not see carefully whether Krishna and Balram are passing by that area. So meanwhile, Krishna and Balram came. They stood on either side of Rohini and Subhadra. One side Balram, one side Krishna. So what is Subhadra doing? Subhadra is standing at the door and then just peeping inside the door. What is there? So all these both brothers went on either side of Subhadra, and they also peeped inside the door. And what's happening inside? Rohini Mata is ecstatically narrating Krishna's pastimes. So hearing those pastimes, Krishna became so excited that his eyes became very big, and his smile became very wide, and his hands and legs just got shrunk into his body out of ecstasy. Okay, so same thing happened with Subhadra Mata. Same thing happened with Balramji also. So all these three personalities, Krishna, Balram and Subhadra, the two brothers and the sister, they all manifested totally different forms with wide eyes and wide smiles, and all the hands and legs shrunk into their bodies. They're ecstatic. So at that time, Narada Muni came there. he saw these different forms of Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra. He said, "Oh Lord, may these forms be permanently visible to everyone." Then Krishna said, "Tathastu." So the point is that when Krishna hears his own pastimes, he experiences such great spiritual pleasure that he also manifests some bodily transformations. That's how Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra forms came. So Krishna's pastimes are so sweet that they attract even Krishna. Even Krishna gets attracted to Krishna's pastimes. Okay. So to that degree, Krishna's pastimes are very attractive. I'll tell you something about Ram. You know Lord Ramachandra, Sita Devi was in Valmiki Muni's ashram, and there she gave birth to Lava and Kusha. Okay, this is from Uttarakanda of Ramayana. So this Lava and Kush, they came to Ayodhya and started glorifying Ramayana. They were narrating Ramayana, they were singing Ramayana, and they even came to Ayodhya. They came to Ram Darbar, and in Ram's kingdom, they were reciting Ramayana. All the Ayodhya Vasis were surrounding these two young boys, and they were carefully hearing their recitation, their narration. They became so absorbed. They became so happy. They were sharing their happiness with each other. Hey, wonderful, wonderful. So they were happy. So Ram was sitting alone on the throne. Nobody's there next to him. So Ram thought, my citizens are enjoying more than me. So I must also enjoy with them. If I have to enjoy like them, I have to enjoy with them. So Ram just held all his ornaments so that they don't make sound. Slowly he came from the Simhasan and joined the crowd. And they didn't notice that someone else has joined them because they were so absorbed in Katha. And joining them, Ram heard Ramayana. And he also felt happy. And the citizens are also slapping Ram. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So like that, all of them were enjoying Ramayana narration done by our Lava and Kusha. So this is how the pastimes of the Supreme Lord give pleasure to the Lord himself, his devotees. So when we also focus our minds in hearing about Krishna, then there is absolutely no possibility that we experience any kind of miseries in this world. Okay, see Jagannath Baldev Subhadra's forms. So there is another beautiful shloka in the Bhagavatam that says, Yatredyante katha mrishtaha trishnayah prashamo yatah nirvairam yatra bhuteshu nodvego yatra kaschana yatra idyante katha mrishtaha. Wherever devotees are discussing Krishna katha, trishnayah prashamo yatah. So our trishna, our material desires will be vanquished. Nirvairam yatra bhuteshu, and we will not hate anybody. Nodvego yatra kaschana, we will not have any anxiety. So these are the effects of hearing Krishna Katha. One, our material desires will be diminished. Then we will become non-envious and we will be relieved of all our anxieties. Okay. So even the in the Vrindavan also, in Vrindavan Dham, there is a lot of disturbance from the demons. Every now and then some demon would come and disturb the peace of Vrindavan. So all the Brajavasis have made a plan. So when Krishna was a few days old, Putana came to kill Krishna. When Krishna was 3 months old baby, Shakatasur came to kill Krishna. When Krishna was one day old baby, Trinavarta came to kill Krishna. And when Krishna was hardly 2-3 years old, these two huge Yamalarjuna trees just fell down. They were uprooted without any wind. What would have happened if they fell on Krishna? All the Brajavasis became very anxious. And they felt that this Gokul Mahavan is infested with so many mystic demons and some evil forces. We have to relocate. We have to shift from Gokul Mahavan to Vrindavan. So they all made a plan to shift. So when they shifted to Vrindavan, Krishna was given the charge of calves. Krishna was a little grown up, little 3.5 years old, more than 3 years old. So he was given the charge of calves. He would take calves into the forest and he would just happily tend them. Nearby forest. So that is Gopashtami. Yesterday we celebrated Gopashtami, right? Gopashtami is the day when Krishna took charge of the calves. And Gopashtami is the same day when Krishna took charge of cows when he's a little grown up, okay, after a few years. So Krishna went on Gopashtami day to tend calves. So at that time, when Krishna and Balram and all the other boys were in the forest tending calves, a demon took the form of a calf and entered other calves. Entered means like joined other calves. So the demon's name is Vatsasur. Krishna picked up the demon's legs and started twirling the demon like this, and then threw him on a kapitha tree, and the fruits fell down and demon died. The point is, and after some time, Bakasur also came, crane demon. Krishna killed him also. So the point is, the Vrajavasis came from Gokul Mahavan to Vrindavan. For what reason? Just to avoid these demons. But as soon as they shifted to Vrindavan, again, back to back, there are 2 demon attacks, and there are many more demons that attacked the piece of Vrindavan. But they did not experience any difficulty because they were constantly discussing about Krishna. Itinandadayo gopaha Krishna Rama katham mudam kurvanto ramamanascha navindan bhavavedanam. So the Gopas headed by Nanda Maharaj are constantly discussing the pastimes of Krishna and Balaram. Therefore, they did not experience any difficulty or calamity or misery or sorrow because of the attack of the demons. So, miseries in this material world shall continue to exist. Whether you are in Vrindavan or wherever you are, miseries in material world will continue to exist. But we can protect ourselves from being affected by those miseries if we discuss about Krishna's pastimes, with happiness, with satisfaction, with commitment, with absorption. When we do so, we can be protected from all the calamities. So this is the greatness of discussing about Krishna. Okay. So these are the symptoms of devotees. We discussed it already. Machitta madgata prana bodhayantaha parasparam kathayantasya mam nityam tushyanti charamanticha. So internally they are absorbed in Krishna. Externally they are dedicated to the service of Krishna and to the process of Shravana. So and best example of Machitta, always thinking of Krishna, is Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad faced so many dangers. His own father Hiranyakashipu tried to kill him in 100 different ways. But Prahlad was always thinking of Krishna. The difficulties caused by his father and other demons did not affect him at all. So Madgata Prana we discussed, right, with the fish example. So yeah, these are some beautiful. Okay, I think I'll take this also. Mind is a place of emotions. Words are by which we express ourselves, and body is used to perform different activities. So we need to connect with Krishna through our emotions, expressions, and actions. Now, in these 2 shlokas that we have discussed today, Buddha Bhava Samanvitaha. So we have emotions for Krishna. We need to cultivate spiritual emotions for Krishna. And Machitta Madgata Prana Bodhayantaha Parasparam. We need to express our love for Krishna with other devotees, to other devotees through our words. And also Bhajanti Mam. We need to use our bodily senses to serve Krishna. So when we try to connect with Krishna through our expressions, emotions, and actions, all 3 at the level of body, mind, and words, then our bhakti is complete and we will not be affected by any such material miseries. So the spiritual bliss of Krishna Katha is beyond the material modes. To transcend modes, we need to constantly discuss about Krishna, isn't it? So Krishna Katha is beyond material modes. What are material modes? Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. Okay. So we want to cross over this Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna, right? So we need to access something, we need to take shelter of something which is beyond these gunas. That is Krishna Katha. By regularly in touch with Hari Katha, we will be out of touch from Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. So, Daivi Hiyasha Gunamayi Mama Maya Dharatyaya Mamevaye Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite. These three material modes, Sattva, Rajas, Tamogunas, are very difficult to surpass for an ordinary person. But if one takes shelter of Krishna, one can easily cross over this Maya. Easily cross over these modes, three gunas. Taking shelter of Krishna begins by hearing about Krishna. Hearing is the first connection between us and Krishna. So we need to hear Bodhayanta Parasparam. When Krishna is glorified, we are purified. Okay. So just like bathing in a holy river purifies us from sinful reactions, bathing in the river of Krishna Katha purifies our sinful desires. Whatever sinful tendencies, lust, envy, pride, greed that is there within our hearts, that is completely purified to the degree we take shelter of Harikatha. Okay. Next, like that there are so many other things to discuss. Third shloka. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. Tesham satata yuktanam. One who is constantly engaged in service to the Lord. Satata yuktana means constant service, constantly devoted to the Lord. And bhajatam pritipurvakam. And the service has to be done with priti, love. Not just constant engagement in service, but constant service with love. Emotion is also important, not just action. Okay. To such people, Krishna will give us intelligence. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. I will give them the necessary understanding. Yenamam upayantite. By which they can come to me. So, going to Krishna is facilitated by Krishna to the degree we serve Krishna with love and dedication. If we have love and if we have dedication in our service to Krishna, then Krishna will give us the intelligence to go to his lotus feet, to reach his spiritual kingdom. Okay. So, Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam. There are so many beautiful stories. For example, Rukmani Devi, Rukmani is a best example here. Yeah. Last shloka, what did we discuss? Machchittamadgata prana bodhayantah parasparam we discussed, right? Devotees are those people who constantly hear about Krishna. So, Rukmani Devi, staying in Kundinapur, she is the princess of Vidarbha city. Okay, capital is Kundinapur. So she was in Vidarbha city, and there so many sages used to come to her house, to her palace. They would narrate Krishna's pastimes, and she would happily hear all these pastimes of Krishna, and she developed love for Krishna by hearing those pastimes. And she desired that I want to have Krishna as my husband. Okay, so but she had a brother named Rukmi, and this Rukmi is very cruel fellow and very strict with his sister. So he had a friend named Shishupala. He is another envious demoniac person. So Rukmi forcefully wanted to give Rukmani in marriage to Shishupala, not Krishna, not Gopal Krishna, but Shishupal. So Rukmani doesn't like it. So what did she do? She called for a Brahmana. Brahmana came and she wrote a nice letter to Krishna and gave that letter to the Brahmana. Brahmana, please take this letter to Krishna in Dwaraka and read this letter, and I want him as my husband. So reading this letter, Krishna should come here and take me away from this Vidarbha city. Then that Brahmana innocently went and informed Krishna, and Krishna immediately said, yeah, yes, my devotee is waiting for me. I will go. I will go and take her, bring her to Dwaraka. So, like, she wanted to connect with Krishna. She heard about Krishna, she developed love for Krishna, and she wanted to have Krishna as her husband. So what did Krishna do? He personally gave Rukmani Devi the intelligence to write a letter and call Krishna, and he himself came. Like, Gajendra's pastime. So Gajendra was a crocodile. Gajendra was an elephant, and a crocodile caught Gajendra And Gajendra fought with the crocodile for 1000 years. Nothing happened. Then Gajendra thought, I could not protect myself from this crocodile. And these elephants, my friends and my family members, all these other elephants who are standing on the bank of this lake, they also could not protect me. Only Supreme Lord can protect me. So, where did Gajendra get this inspiration or intuition, this buddhi? Where did Gajendra get this buddhi? Krishna gave. From within the heart of Gajendra, Krishna inspired Gajendra to offer a prayer to the Lord. And that prayer Gajendra had memorized in his past life. In his past life, he was a great devotee named Indrajimna Maharaj. So he memorized some prayer at that time. So Krishna reminded Gajendra of that prayer now in this new life, after 1000 years of struggle with this crocodile. So Krishna only inspired Gajendra to pray. And as soon as Gajendra offered these prayers, the Lord came on the back of Garuda in great haste to protect Gajendra. He pulled Gajendra by his trunk outside the water and he has cut the head of crocodile with this Sudarshan Chakra. Okay. So the Lord only gives us the intuition. He gives us the buddhi. He gives us the knowledge and inspiration to take his shelter. And as soon as we take his shelter, he will come and protect you. Match fixing. Right? So this is the speciality of the Lord. The Lord only inspired Rukmini Devi to write a letter, and he himself came and took Rukmini away from Vidarbha and took her to Dwarka and married her. Okay. So Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam, if you love Krishna, if you serve Krishna, then Krishna will give us the intelligence to come close to him. Right? Krishna wants us. Krishna is missing us. Okay. So this is another shloka. There is a lot we can discuss about it, but I will go to the last shloka. Teshamevanukampartham aham ajnanajam tamah nashayamyatmabhavastho jnanadipena bhasvata. So, tesham eva anukampartham, to show some special mercy upon some devotees. Anukampartham. Aham ajnanajam tamaha. So, Krishna will remove the ajnana within their hearts. Okay. Nashayami, he will completely remove. And how will he remove that ajnana, the darkness of ignorance? Jnana dipena. Here, ajnana is compared with tama. Ajnana is ignorance, tama is darkness. So that ignorance is darkness. To remove the darkness of ignorance, you need the lamp of knowledge, jnana dipa. That Krishna will give us. Okay. So with the lamp of knowledge, with the shining lamp of knowledge, Krishna will destroy the darkness of ignorance in our hearts. Okay. And deliver us. So this is how Krishna always protects his devotees by giving them the necessary intelligence, provided they love him, they worship him, they serve him with all dedication. So you know this tamasoma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritangamaya. So from tamasoma, from tama, from darkness, you can get into light by the help of Krishna. From a life which is destined to die, from a life in human body which is destined to get destroyed, we need to get a immortal body, spiritual body by serving Krishna. Okay. So Krishna actually illuminates our hearts with the light of spiritual knowledge, and Krishna relieves us from the darkness of ignorance. That's what Krishna does. Okay. So like that, there are so many beautiful stories where Krishna gives us the necessary intuition and inspiration to surrender unto him. And as soon as you surrender unto him, he himself will come to protect us. Okay. So this is a short explanation of these 4 key shlokas of Bhagavad Gita in the 10th chapter. So with this we'll conclude. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Your Grace. As always, your discourses are wonderful to hear, especially because they are so well illustrated, and the points that you're trying to make always come across so beautifully. Of course, our takeaway, there are many takeaways from today's class, but of course, the fact that Krishna is the source of everything should not be forgotten. And so one should not only know that Krishna is God, but also should internalize the fact that Krishna is my God, just like the gopis did, and how the life of a devotee is completely dependent on the Lord. With this, we would like to now open the floor for questions, if there are any. Dhyana Mataji, you have raised your hands. Please unmute yourself and ask the question. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Your Grace, Dandavat Pranam. Could you share a story from Srimad Bhagavatam? If someone is despondent and down, which story from the Srimad Bhagavatam would you share to relate to? Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Someone is despondent and down. I would say Bhagavatam begins with the story of Vyasadeva. He was very despondent. He has written so many scriptures. He has divided one Veda into 4. He also has written different Puranas, then Upanishads, Mahabharata. Still he was despondent. He was completely feeling incomplete. Okay. So in that state of despondency, he honestly introspected what went wrong. Then he understood that I have not sufficiently glorified Krishna and his pastimes and the process of Bhakti Yoga in the books that I have written so far. So as he was thinking like this, his guru came, Narada Muni came. And Vyasadeva said, Narada Muni, I feel so despondent. I feel so incomplete, despite doing so much welfare work for the humanity. Then Narada Muni said, yes, I can understand. I know the reason also. The reason is you have not sufficiently glorified Krishna. You have overemphasized on dharma, artha, kama, moksha, etc. But you have not sufficiently glorified Krishna and his pastimes and the process of bhakti. Only by direct glorification of the Lord and description of the bhakti path, your heart will be satisfied. Then he wrote Srimad Bhagavatam. So the lesson here is that it is very common in our life to become despondent, to become little demotivated, dejected, discouraged, disappointed. But how will we overcome that stage? We need guidance. We need the guidance of a guru. Even Vyasadeva experienced despondency. His guru Narada Muni came and gave him the direction and released him from the despondency. So we need spiritual guidance. We need proper guidance from a mature devotee to come out of despondency. That's the first story of Bhagavatam.
Hare Krishna, Your Grace. There are a couple of questions in the chat box. It says, Hare Krishna Prabhu, can emotionally connecting to Krishna is misleading? Where to draw the line?
That's a brilliant question. That's a very important question. When you say emotional connection with Krishna, that comes naturally, organically, as we perform our sadhana bhakti. We can't imagine emotional connection with Krishna. It's not imaginary. We have a connection, but we can't just fake it. We can't just manifest some high emotions for Krishna without having that high degree of purity. Those who do so are called sahajiyas. So sahajiyas do not have that purity of heart, but they kind of show off as if they have great love for Krishna, great emotions for Krishna. So we should not be having imitation emotions. We should have natural emotions. And that natural emotions we will be able to develop by studying Shastra, by studying the pastimes of Krishna within Bhagavatam with proper attention, with proper mood, in the right consciousness, in the association of devotees. When we discuss Krishna's pastimes amongst like-minded devotees who have some love for Krishna, in their Sangha, with this Katha, our love for Krishna is enhanced day by day, gradually. Then emotions will automatically manifest. Emotions are not artificially exhibited, but they are gradually and naturally developed. Okay, Prabhu.
Prabhu, we have another question which says, how to understand that we are experiencing Krishna?
See, we somehow fortunately came in contact with devotees. So a few years back, or a few decades back, depending on where we are at our spiritual journey so far. So like some years back, we didn't have connection with devotees. We didn't have connection with the process of chanting the holy names. We didn't have association of devotees. We did not begin to practice bhakti. We had our own material aspirations and material agendas and schedules that were keeping us engaged completely. But somehow we came in touch with Krishna. So without Krishna's sanction, we can't come in touch with Krishna and his devotees, isn't it? So when we notice it carefully, we are experiencing Krishna. In fact, we can experience Krishna at every moment. It's easier said than done, but it's not impossible. So, for example, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhasmi se shishurya yoho. Rasoham apsu kaunteya means I am the taste of water. Whenever you drink water, you can remember Krishna. You can experience Krishna's taste. The taste of water is Krishna. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So by reading scriptures and trying to observe the scriptural conclusions and scriptural teachings in our day-to-day life, we can experience Krishna at every moment. Whenever we see sun and moon, we understand the sun and moon are Krishna's eyes. Okay. So whenever we see rivers flowing, Ganga river flowing, okay, we understand that this Ganga river is nothing but the water that washed Krishna's feet. So all the trees are there. Whenever we see some peacocks, we can remember Krishna's peacock feather. So everything in this world is coming from Krishna, as we discussed today. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattaha sarvam pravartati. Thus everything and everyone in this entire creation has a connection with Krishna, has a relationship with Krishna. If we constantly remind ourselves of this fact, iti matva bhajanti mam, then there is an opportunity to remember Krishna every time, every moment. So there's that exercise. Initially it's like an exercise, later it's very natural. So that exercise or that sadhana of trying to remember the connection between Krishna and everything that we see is very much needed. That makes us experience Krishna eventually, constantly. Makes sense? Does it make sense?
Thank you, Prabhu. There is a Zoom devotee who has raised his hand. We will take the question. Kindly unmute yourself. Zoom user, you can unmute yourself, please. You're not identified by name, so sorry, Mataji or Prabhu. Okay, now Prabhu, we will move to the next question, which says, Hare Krishna, Prabhu, how to bring about absorption while doing devotional service?
We need to associate with those devotees who are more absorbed than us while doing devotional activities. For example, chanting is a devotional activity. Some devotees chant very attentively. Some devotees just move here and there, may do a little mechanically. Okay. So when say my japa is not proper, I am doing mechanically. When my friend is doing japa more attentively, with more focus, sitting at one place, focusing. So by sitting next to that devotee, I get an inspiration to increase my absorption in my own japa. Say somebody is reading scriptures nicely, attentively, and I am very restless reading scriptures. If I go and sit with that devotee, I get inspiration to read scriptures nicely with absorption. So whether it is hearing or chanting or doing some services or reading the scriptures or whatever service, devotional activity we do, we can increase our absorption in those devotional activities by associating with those devotees who are doing those activities with more absorption than us. Okay. Sangat sanjayate kama. So in association, we develop that desire, we develop that inspiration, we develop that determination. I hope it answers the question.
One last question, Prabhu, with your permission. It says, how do we know our emotions are spiritual when doing KC activities?
Now, are we experiencing that? Okay, let me give a simpler answer. There are 6 enemies that we have: Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsara. Lust, envy, pride, greed, etc. So we need to see whether these negative qualities are reducing in us, and our inspiration and eagerness to serve Krishna and be in Krishna circles, is it increasing? So as we are progressing in bhakti, our material desires, material attachment should reduce, and our spiritual desires and spiritual absorption, spiritual activity should increase. Okay, so we can keep a watch. We need to have regular introspection, reflection on our own activities. Say at the end of the day, we may take 4 or 5 minutes to reflect on what has happened throughout the day. Am I in spiritual consciousness, or did I just slip into some material kind of consciousness? That reflections, that reflection and introspection, contemplation on our own activities, that will help us to observe whether we are getting spiritually nourished or getting materially distracted. Generally, a day is a combination of both, unless we are Paramahamsas. The day, an average sadhaka's typical day is a combination of some core spiritual moments and spiritual experiences, and also some kind of material emotions and material experiences. So by regular introspection and being more prayerful in our hearing and chanting, we can notice them and work on them with a determination.
Thank you, Your Grace, for making the time today to enlighten us on Bhagavad Gita. We would like to pay our humble obeisances to you. We have a few announcements to make before we sign off, Prabhu. If you have other duties to attend to, then we take your leave. Kindly accept our humble obeisances. So there are a couple of more questions in the chat box, but we will try and send you the answers by WhatsApp. Sorry, we did not have enough time today to answer them. With that, we come to a very interesting announcement for today. In conjunction with the Deepavali Damodar month, Bhagavad Gita Academy Kuala Lumpur has come up with a calendar for next year. And you might wonder how this calendar is going to be different from all the calendars that you already have. Well, these calendars are going to have a few key features which are important for us in our devotional life. First of all, it will have all the important festival dates so that we already know about those. It will, of course, highlight the important things like Ekadashi, etc., that we already observe. It will have the Brahm Muhurtam time. It will have the inauspicious and auspicious timings in the day to perform various activities. It will have, it will give you or teach you how to do tithi calculation for the departed and tithi calculation for the newborns as well. And how will we know how to do all this? Well, Bhagavad Gita Academy Kuala Lumpur will then, after you receive your calendars, arrange a seminar to teach you how to read and understand all the features that have just been mentioned, to ensure that your spiritual journey is guided by using these features. Kindly note that the first copy of this calendar will be sent free to every family. For those of you devotees who would like these calendars to be sent even to their loved ones, near and dear ones, you're most welcome to do so by ordering more than one copy. Each copy will come at a cost of 10 ringgit. Tech team, please put up Subha Mataji's details on the chat box. You can reach out to Subha Mataji with your address that you would like the first calendar copy to be mailed to you, and we will try and make sure that these copies get to you before the new year starts, so that you can start the new year with new goals and new resolutions. For those of you who would like more than one copy, also please reach out to Swa Mataji on the number given in the chat box, and you please do send her the receipt of the payment made, the details of which will come to you in a WhatsApp message soon in the WhatsApp chat that you are in. Kindly do make the payment, and kindly note the payment is only for the second copy onwards. All devotee families, one calendar per family. So if you're 4 of you in a family attending the discourse, living in the same house, then you still get one calendar, and that should be enough. If more than one is needed, make the payment, send the details to Subha Mataji along with your address to which it should be mailed. All devotees are encouraged to send their first mailing address as well, along with your full name and full address, so that the calendar reaches you on time. And with that, we come to the end of this session and also the announcements. I would like to take leave with the final Prem Dhwani. All glories to their Lordship Sri Lakshmi Narayan. All glories to Sri Radha Madhav Ashta Sakhis. All glories to Sri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra. All glories to Sri Sri Gaura Nitai. All glories to Sampradaya Acharyas. All glories to His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. We will see you next Wednesday again.
Hare Krishna.